I swear that damn clock has a mind of its own. Getting started in 10 minutes. Throw any links or interesting stories into chat. Getting started in 10 minutes. Throw any links or interesting stories into chat. Where's Waldo? You know, out of hundreds of YouTube comments, only one has said, "Where's Waldo?" I honestly expected it a lot more. Check out Waldo's videos. https://www.youtubecom@waldovideos. Let's get political political I wanna get. Oh yeah, that is true.
Well, hello, how you doing? My name is Waldo, and I'm here to feel the politics with you. Because, as we all know, politics is feeling, and everything is politics. Uh, so, uh, Today I've got a couple of stories brought up, a couple of things to do. But if you are here paying attention, please hop into chat, say the thing. Anything you chat into the kick chat will be read by the robot lady until I turn her off. For the important bits. And then anything you say in YouTube chat will show up right here on screen so that we can see it.
Slots. The
And
result is at KBP 24. Congratulations, you won the jackpot X10. You won 500 points.
and then every time you chat in the Kick chat, you get 5 points. And with those points, just like KBP did here, you can play a slot machine game or you can gamble them. I think there's a gamble thing too. And he just won the jackpot with 3 grapes, and he won 500 points. Oh my God, KBP, you are such a cool guy. If you want to be a cool guy like him, hop into the Kick chat, say hello, throw some
Gamble 100.
things. Now
At
he's gambling,
KBP 24 dice roll result 4, you got half of the bet back.
and we'll turn the lady off once we get started on the news. But yeah, these are the fun stuff, and any emotes that you throw in there come flying across the screen because I think it's fun. Because I'm a crazy person and then I bite at them. You know. So if you want me to bite at the emotes, pop them into chat. Come on over to the Kick chat, pop them in there. Tell us what you're thinking. Shoot any links that you have to fun new news things. If you've got a story that I haven't noticed or you think is important, throw it in here and we'll take a look and we'll feel it together. It'll be fun. And then what I'll do is this is the live stream. This is the uh, basis for what I make out of the YouTube video. So what I will do here is I will edit these down over the week, chop them up, put them into little bits, and then put them onto the YouTube channel. And if you miss a stream or something like that, or you can't be here live, watch the live stream, or you can just watch the videos where I edit out all the uhs and the ums and the and all the thoughts that I have when I can't think of the right word. I edit all that out. Not to say you shouldn't watch the live stream, because if you watch the live stream, you get to look at all this. See, look, yeah, I need a better one for that. That's the thinking email. Uh, when I can't think of the right word, when I'm thinking of the right verbiage. But I don't have a very good emote for that. But if you also have emotes, throw those at me. I'm probably going to need a new banner for the YouTube page. So if anybody wants to make one, not asking you specifically KVP, but if you wanted to make one, I would put it up. So that is the intro, the start, and the beginning. I appreciate anybody who's here. Let's get started with the news and the politics. Let's feel it all together. I'm going to go into this browser and I'm going to press this button and I'm going to press that button. And now the robot lady is off. She has been deactivated. We're going to go to this main screen right here and we're going to hit the window capture. We're going to make it where you can see it. Click it. Then we're going to drop it down to there. And now you can see what's on the screen. Oh my God. It's like I've done this once or twice before. All right, here we go. Colorado judge keeps Trump on ballot, but finds he engaged in insurrection. So this was the discussion we were having about Donald Trump doing an insurrection and then the 14th Amendment saying that he can't be elected anymore. A district court judge ruled that former President Donald J. Trump engaged in insurrection, but said the disqualification clause of the 14th Amendment did not apply to him. That's weird. You did the thing that's against the law, but the law doesn't apply to you. Very strange. Not entirely sure how we got to this point, but she ruled on Friday that he could remain on the primary ballot in the state, rejecting the argument that the 14th Amendment prevents him from holding office again, but doing so relatively narrow grounds that lawyers for the voters seek to disqualify him said they would appeal. Okay, so they're going to try again. With his actions before and during Jan 6th, Sarah B. Wallace ruled Mr. Trump engaged in insurrection against the Constitution, an offense that Section 3 of the 14th Amendment, which was ratified, deems disqualifying for people who previously took an oath to support the Constitution. But, here's the but, But Wallace, a state district court judge in Denver, concluded that Section 3 did not include the presidential oath in that category. It's the most important oath. Why would you not include the most important one? The clause does not explicitly name the presidency, so that question hinged on whether the president was included in the category officer of the United States. Good God. We've got one very, very tiny little loophole, is that nobody wrote down the word the president is an officer of the United States. Because the absence of the president from the list of positions to which the amendment applies, combined with the fact that Section 3 specifies that the disqualifying oath is one to support the Constitution, where the presidential oath is to preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution, it appears to the court that, for whatever reason, the drafters of Section 3 did not intend to include a person who was only taken the presidential oath. All right, fine. It's the way it's written. I'm not happy about it, but that's fine. I mean, that's what the judge has said. The judge is smarter than me. The judge looks at the Constitution and the rules and things like that and is more intelligent than I am. Fine. I take Judge Wallace's opinion seriously. I'm just, our entire government was built on gentlemen's agreements and not directly what was written in the law. The gentlemen's agreements were if one guy tried to overthrow it, we wouldn't vote for him again. We all kind of thought that was obvious and blatant and plain, and no one need to explain that. No one would need to write down that on the rules. You shouldn't let the guy who tried to overthrow the government run next time. Nobody wrote that down. And because nobody wrote it down, it's not in the law. And so when Donald Trump tries to overthrow the government and then runs again later, there's no rule saying you can't. There's no rule saying that a dog can't play basketball. And that's the world we live in right now. There's no rule that says the dog can't play basketball because no one ever thought that you would have to write that down. But apparently we do. And writing things into the law and the Constitution now is impossible. You are not getting any new things passed. They barely handle a budget, which is mandatory every year. Changing the rules and making the rules so that they might affect Republicans is going to be impossible from now on. Yeah, you're right, Shuzeto. They do use the text when they feel like it, and when they don't feel like it, they use the spirit of the law. Yeah, they will jump back and forth. We'll discuss that later with gender and sex, but that's a later issue. They will jump back and forth between them when it makes them feel good, when it makes their argument correct. If textualism makes their argument correct, that's what they will use. If the spirit of the law makes their argument correct, that's what they'll use. And they will flip-flop back and forth between them with no regard. What else we got? So, let's see. So he's going to be on the Colorado ballot, which is fine. It is a thing that I saw as a weird issue. If he weren't on the ballot, that could cause some issues, that could cause some problems, that could cause could literally cause some violence. All right, let's listen to this guy. He's MSNBC. I know he's a liberal and a Canadian. We won't hold that against him just yet, but he's saying he's agreeing with me. So that Donald Trump is the greatest threat the world faces, and that is something that I've been saying for a very long time. But he's muted because the internet is hard. And hang on, I just heard the pitter-patter of feet. Hang on, we might take a little break. Come here, little guy. Does anybody want to see Bobo the baby bark boy? Come here, Bobo. Come here, Bobo. You get to be famous and on the internet. Oh, goodness. Sit right here for just a second. Let me press the button. So you get to be on the news. It's Bobo the baby bark boy. Look at him. Look at those ears. I don't know what he's eating. Oh, he's got a bone. Okay. Bobo the baby bark boy, he's an Ewok, and he will bark at me during the news. So if you hear him barking, that is what he's doing. Where did your bone go, silly boy? You dropped it. It's over here. Is that it? That looks like garbage. Are you eating garbage? Yes? Okay, good. Go eat garbage. Somewhere else. Pork break. Yes. And he's gone. All right. We will often get interrupted by him. Okay, what were we doing? We were going to watch this guy talk about how dangerous Trump is. Okay, let's go.
Of historic challenges. The war between Israel and Hamas, with thousands of Palestinian civilians caught in the middle of what could become a much bigger war. The ongoing Russian invasion of Ukraine. Deepening fears of whether China might invade Taiwan while America is indirectly supporting two major wars. Extreme political polarization around the world and here in America, not to mention a climate crisis that threatens the habitability of our very planet. So much is going wrong. So much threat around us. Which one is the most serious threat to global stability? None of the ones I mentioned. The greatest threat to the stability of the world right now remains a twice-impeached, multiply indicted former president of this nation. Donald Trump is the greatest threat the world faces. Here's why. Those real global crises I mentioned actually hang in an extremely delicate balance with President Biden's steady hand on the wheel. As chaotic as things may seem right now, ask yourself, how much worse do they get with Donald Trump in the White House? He's on the case.
I think that's an excellent point. Everything would be more chaotic. He would be in front of the news every day. When COVID happened, it became the Donald Trump show. He would show up and just talk to the camera. It was his favorite part of being a president, was when COVID happened and he got to go out every morning, talk to the people. He loved it. That was his favorite part. And he would be doing that right now about the Israel-Gaza conflict, and he would be making it worse.
Joe Biden is with Ukraine. He's redeveloping a relationship with Xi in China. He sure has annoyed a lot of people at home with his Israel policy, but he has created more space for an American president to influence Israel than we've seen in a while.
I don't exactly agree with that one. I think old Joe Brandon's done kind of a bad job. He's got a boomer's take on Israel, and I would like there to be a ceasefire. But he's not going to say that.
And he has a real commitment to solving the climate crisis. Here's how those situations could play out with Donald Trump at the helm, according to a recent piece by The Economist. Quote, knowing that America would abandon Europe, Mr. Putin would have an incentive to fight on in Ukraine and to pick off former Soviet countries such as Moldova or the Baltic states. Without American pressure, Israel is unlikely to generate an internal consensus for peace talks with the Palestinians. By asserting that America has no global responsibility to help deal with climate change, Mr. Trump would crush efforts to slow it. And he is surrounded by China hawks who believe confrontation is the only way to preserve American dominance. Caught between a deal-making president and his warmongering officials, China could easily miscalculate over Taiwan with catastrophic consequences. Donald Trump is quite...
I would agree with that, too. Donald Trump is more chaotic. We all know it. He will say a thing, and then he will talk to somebody, and then he will say a different thing. He will flip-flop back and forth on whatever gets him the most views and adulation in tomorrow's headline. And that could cause China to misstep and not know what's going on, and then they do something stupid in Taiwan based on what he said last week, but he's not going to say it next week, and it could just cause chaos.
Quite literally on the wrong side of every global issue and, ironically, every domestic issue. In particular, with his revisionist history version of the January 6th attack on the Capitol. He calls the rioters who are awaiting trial or sentencing not prisoners, hostages. And he would like nothing more than to whitewash the violence of that day. In Special Counsel Jackson...
I mentioned that last week with the Tucker thing. Tucker was ignoring crimes a man committed because those crimes were in service to Donald Trump. If you commit crimes and it furthers Donald Trump's interest, you didn't commit a crime according to them.
Smith's case against him for his efforts to overturn the 2020 election. Donald Trump even tried to have references to the violence on January 6th stricken from the indictment and by extension from the trial. But today, the judge, Tanya Chutkan, is saying, nuh-uh, ruling against Donald Trump's request to sanitize Jack Smith's indictment from the brutal reality of that day that we all saw. In their filing to Judge Chutkan, Jack Smith and his team argued that January 6th was, quote, the culmination of the defendant's criminal conspiracies to overturn the legitimate results of the presidential election when the defendant directed a large and angry crowd, one that he had summoned to Washington, D.C. and fueled with knowingly false claims of election fraud to the Capitol to obstruct the congressional certification proceeding, end quote. Jack Smith's filing makes an important point about the power of Trump's words and his willingness to use the threat of violence to achieve his goals. Just within the past few hours tonight, a Colorado judge ruled that Donald Trump's January 6th speech led to the violence of that day. Quote, the court finds that Trump's ellipse speech incited imminent lawless violence. Trump did so explicitly by telling the crowd repeatedly to fight like hell, to walk down to the Capitol, and that they needed to take back our country through strength. He did so implicitly by encouraging the crowd that they could play by very different rules because of the supposed fraudulent election, end quote. Now, the Colorado judge didn't go so far as to block Trump from appearing on the ballot in the case, saying, quote, established that Trump engaged in insurrection on January 6, 2021 through incitement, and that the First Amendment does not protect Trump's speech, end quote. It is more evidence, however, that when Donald Trump speaks, his supporters listen. When he attacks Judge Chutkan, that sends a message to the people who live in thrall to him. Jack Smith and his team are set to make arguments before a federal appeals court on Monday about why the gag order on Trump should remain in place. But in their filing on the issue, they point out, quote, shortly after being assigned to the case, the court itself received a racist death threat explicitly tied to the court's role in presiding over the defendant's case.
Oh, good. Okay. I think we get the point. There's only 2 minutes left. Let's keep going.
With the caller stating, among other things, quote, if Trump doesn't get elected in 2024, we are coming to kill you. So tread lightly. And then a word that starts with a B and ends with an H. You will be targeted personally, publicly, your family, all of it, end quote. Just hours after Donald Trump's gag order in the New York civil fraud case was temporarily paused, he went right back to attacking the judge's clerk on social media, calling her politically biased and out of control, end quote. In California yesterday, the man who attacked Speaker Nancy Pelosi's husband with a hammer last year was convicted after a 4-day trial. Now, on the stand in his trial, David DePape testified how fringe conspiracies, quote, awakened him to the truth. And from there, he became a supporter of Mr. Trump.
DePape was part of Gamergate. Oh my God, I had no idea. Gamergate awakened him to the truth. And from there he became a supporter of Mr. Trump. Gamergate. It's still haunting us.
Trump and a skeptic of mainstream media. And he came to believe in a vast conspiracy theory that liberal elites were promoting pedophilia and spreading lies about Mr. Trump, end quote. Donald Trump's messages, the ones he verbalizes and the ones he doesn't, are being received. Bear in mind, this is where things stand right now. It's November of 2023. Think about where we're headed in the next year. Trump's civil fraud trial, the one that we could see have him hit with a 9-figure fine and shatter his image as a business tycoon, that's wrapping up within the next few weeks. E. Jean Carroll's second defamation trial is set to begin in January. Shortly after that, jury selection will begin in Jack Smith's 2020 election case against him. The hush money case, it's set to begin next spring. The classified documents case is currently scheduled for May. And this afternoon in Atlanta, District Attorney Fani Willis told the judge she wants her case against Trump to begin on August the 5th, 2024, a date to which Trump and his legal team have already strenuously objected. Much more on that in a moment. All of this is going to be happening while Trump desperately campaigns next year to get back into the White House. My point is this. Do we expect Trump to be less or more crazy as all this pressure ramps up? Do we expect his most hardcore supporters on earth, too, to be less or more crazy as the threat of dear leader getting locked up grows? The walls are closing in, and a cornered Donald Trump is a threat that cannot be ignored.
All right. So, yeah, I saw that the other day, and I thought it was interesting. Yeah, I think he's right. I know he's a liberal, but they can be a right sometimes. Uh, it's going to get worse. It's going to get wilder, and we're going to watch it all and feel it all together. It's going to be great. So come by, we'll feel it all together, and we'll check it all out. On that same subject, we haven't changed subjects yet. This guy, this is the flavor of everything today. All over the news, our democracy hangs by a thread. Expert panel says a Trump victory in 2024 will end democracy. Fight through the trauma and exhaustion. Our panel urges 24 election could be the end of the American experiment. Now, this one is just filled with opinions that a lot of these people have that are very similar to that video we just watched. But there is one comment that I saw and I really liked it. This one right here. This guy, who used to be a right-winger, said, "Before and after our upcoming elections, I will engage with the MAGA voters, not by impugning them and insulting them, but by showing them that realizing we were wrong and acknowledging our errors are traits of strength, not weakness." I think this is an important thing. I like this. The issue that I have with most MAGA voters is that they will not be moved by facts and logic. They feel a certain way, and if you use facts to disrupt their feelings or tell them that the facts don't match their feelings, they will get angry, they will double down, they will dig in. They don't use the scientific method quite the same way other people do. They don't use the scientific method to look at the new evidence and come to a different conclusion. No, 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 no. They look for evidence that backs up their already arrived at conclusion. So, if you arrived at the conclusion that Joe Biden cheated during the 2020 election, you will go and look for that evidence. And people on the internet who are grifters, who want to get a click, make a couple of dollars, will give you that evidence. They'll just fabricate it out of nothing. And that is where we are. That is the misinformation age that we are part of. Shinsinto says, moral of the story, if you ever find yourself in legal hot water, declare your candidacy for president. They can't prosecute you because it's your political hit job. Absolutely correct. To them, self-reflection or updating opinions is considered weakness. Right. They don't think that that's a good thing to do. By sticking to their guns, they are strengthened. They are not flip-flopping, wishy-washy, weak-kneed, bleeding heart liberals. No, 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 no. They've found the truth. You should trust people who are seeking the truth. You should not trust someone you should doubt someone who says that they found it. Someone who says they found the absolute evidence that Joe Biden cheated during 2020. I'm going to doubt you. If you say I'm looking for the evidence that Joe Biden cheated during 2020, I'm going to trust you a little bit more. It's kind of already been sold, but it's already been solved. But stand your ground, even if it's in quicksand. That's right. And then they're going to be they're neck deep right now in that quicksand, Shinseto. They're neck deep, telling you they're not in quicksand. They're neck deep in it, and they're saying we are not in quicksand. We are exactly where we want to be. We are as strong as we've ever been, and this is where we will stand, and we will do nothing about it. You are wrong. You are wrong, Waldo. You, the leftist, the liberal, the communist, are the one who is incorrect. But when I point out, hey, you're neck deep in quicksand, they get mad at me. And that's what most of my, not to make the entire stream about the YouTube comments, but most of my comments are just people screaming at me that Joe Biden cheated. And it's not true. And then when I point out that it's not true, or I show them data or facts, they just call me names or yell at me about how it is true. Because they feel like it's true. They feel like it ought to be true. So that is the reality for them. Feelings, for conservatives, are reality. Yet they will tell you the opposite. They will, facts don't care about your feelings is their fancy mantra slogan, but it's literally wrong. Yeah, I know, and yeah, and I do that too. I make all kinds of accusations, but I have the idea of evidence, and I can link to the things, and I can go and find it. Their evidence is just some YouTuber said it, and it made them feel good, so now they believe it forever. If a YouTuber says something and a conservative likes it, it's a fact. That's how it works. If you're a conservative and a YouTuber tells you something that makes you feel good, it is now a fact. Doesn't matter if it's true, doesn't matter if it's real, doesn't matter if they made it up. It's now a fact. And then I have to hear about it in my comments, you know? All right, so I think, what else have we got? Okay, so in this, keeping with the theme that we've got so far, I can't actually read this one because it's on the Washington Post. Fuck you, Washington Post, for being a sack of shit. If, if you let us see what you have down here, like, we would read it and be happy. But we're gonna pirate it and go around it. So, opinion. Trump says the quiet part out loud, he'll destroy democracy. So this lady is saying as well, here is a nice, wonderful person who has given us all the information. Uh, on his Univision appearance, Trump uttered a bone-chilling threat. If I happen to be president and I see somebody who's doing well and beating me very badly, I say, go down and indict them. They'll be out of business, Trump said. They'll be out of the election. So he's promising to indict people who get more support than him. He's promising to persecute his political enemies. Now, this is a thing he complains that is happening to him. It's not. Donald, you committed crimes. Okay? You have broken the law, and that has been investigated, and now you're going to trial for those infringements on the law. This isn't about your politics. It isn't about your positions. We can have a political discussion about those. They're wrong and stupid, but they're not illegal. The illegal things are the things you're being indicted for. He will change the government to indict people who disagree with him on political issues. That is not what's happened to him, but it's what he will make happen to everyone else. He's promising it. Conservatives, listen. Conservatives. Donald Trump is promising to indict people who disagree with him politically. That's not what's happening to him. He says it is, but he's a liar. Why are you okay with this? Why do you feel the need to follow a guy who's promising to indict people, who's promising to use the power of the government against his political enemies? You said that that was wrong, and I agree, it is wrong. It's not happening to Donald Trump. That's not what Joe Biden is doing, but it is what Donald Trump is promising to do to everyone in the future. Conservatism has no principles. None. So what do we got? We got, so there's more. And Axios chimed in to the report, and Trump's allies are pre-screening the ideologies of thousands of potential foot soldiers as part of the unprecedented operation to centralize and expand his power at every level of the U.S. government if he wins at 24. This is the Project 25 book report that I've been doing several times, and we may do today depending on if we have enough time. They are ideologically testing people before they put them into government jobs. And that's not a good idea. Do we ideologically test people? Possibly. For the Supreme Court, kind of. Yeah, we're not supposed to. We're supposed to check their uh, what's the word? Abilities, their merit, and stuff like that. But this is specifically, who did you vote for, and was it Donald Trump? If it wasn't, you're not going to get that government job. That's what it's coming down to. That's what they're promising to do. I don't know why that is a good thing from a conservative standpoint. Mainstream news organizations are still failing, however, to convey the dire stakes of the nation that the nation faces in 2024 election. The Associated Press accurately reported on Trump's agenda: a mass deportation operation, a new Muslim ban, tariffs on all imported goods, and freedom cities built on federal land. Freedom cities built on federal. Well, I don't know what that is. but it quickly descended into a laughable understatement. His ideas and even the issues he focuses on most are wildly different from President Joe Biden's proposals. If implemented, Trump's plans would represent a dramatic government overhaul, arguably more consequential than that of his first term. Yes, authoritarianism and suspension of civil liberties would be different. All right. Though the AP presents radical ideas such as stripping our civil service protection, the report oddly omitted Trump's pledge to weaponize the Justice Department and become MAGA crowd's retribution. So the media is forgetting to write these things down or assuming that it's just him blah 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 blah. Just blah blah blah. Authoritarianism. We're just going to do some authoritarianism. Blah blah blah. Nothing important. Don't write that down. Don't write that down. Doesn't matter. That's not the important part. Um, Whatever the reason for the long delay in focusing on the MAGA cult leader's frightful, unabashed vow to create an authoritarian state, responsible media outlets now have an obligation to blanket the airwaves with coverage of Trump's designs. There is no excuse to treat the two parties as equivalent or to not explain that Trump is a uniquely dangerous figure. Interviewers are obligated to grill Republicans about supporting an antagonist of basic democratic values. So that's why we just watched Ali Velshi on MSNBC, because he's doing that thing. He's doing what I've been doing for months and suggesting I don't have to work for a news organization, so I can do whatever I want. So they are starting to catch up to where I am, which is great. The two parties are not equivalent. If anybody says to you, both sides are the same, they're wrong. One side is worse. One side is blatantly worse. One side is obviously worse. Anybody saying that both sides is the same, both sides, doesn't matter, they're all corrupt, is empowering the authoritarianism that Donald Trump will bring us. They're empowering it by not giving a damn. Donald Trump and his side are far worse than anything we've ever seen before. And the country will not look the same if he wins again. It will survive. I'm not going to be suggesting that we'll all die. Nah. It'll be ugly and it'll be worse. And everybody's civil rights will go down. You will have less freedom than you had before. You will have fewer civil rights, assuming you're not a cis white guy like me. All my rights won't be changed, but I don't want it to be taken away from other people. You know, I'll survive. I can talk with a southern accent. I can pretend all day long. All day long, I can pretend that I always voted for Trump and never. God, no. Why would I ever vote for Joe Brandon? Get out of here with that shit. You know, I can pretend. But there are other people who can't. I can pass for Republican. I'm passing Republican. But there are other people who aren't. And I don't want them to lose their civil rights, you see? Sometimes it's not all about yourself. Sometimes you have to think about others. Republicans can't do that. Do we have another one of these stories? No. Don't have another one of those stories. This one is actually, I think, a far more. This is not important. This is a sensational headline because that's what happens sometimes. Mary Trump announces explosive evidence to take down Trump. She didn't. This is over exaggerated. Let's go down here to what he actually specifically said. And it was in the newsletter that discussed the interview. Former federal prosecutor Jennifer Rogers said the fact that he's recorded saying basically, I knew that these were. This isn't what he said. Hang on. Okay, in the interview, Trump can be heard bragging about the size of the crowd on January 6th. But if you look at the real size of that crowd, it was never reported correctly. It's the biggest crowd I've ever spoken in front of by far. That's what he said. And he also said, I mean, that's not explosive. That's nothing. He also said, Trump chimed in. I know I was going to, and then the Secret Service said you can't, and then by the time I would have, and then when I came back, I wanted to go back. I was thinking about going back during the problem to stop the problem, doing it myself. Secret Service didn't like that idea too much. He wanted to go to the Capitol. Secret Service told him no. And he says, I wanted to go stop the problem, doing it myself. So that's why this isn't important. That's why this isn't shocking news. One, it's barely anything. It's 2 sentences that don't say anything like, I told them to do it. This suggests that he wanted to go to the Capitol. We knew this. This is not a surprise. This is not a thing. And then even if you said this is important, he said, I want to go to stop the problem. That can mean anything you want. Stop the problem of the votes being counted properly against me, or stop the problem of the rioters. It's nothing. This is, thank you, Internet, an explosive headline that means nothing. So don't worry about it. Is Jack Smith, does this hurt Trump? No. Does it help him? No. Jack Smith's thing is still going to go on exactly as it was. This doesn't change anything. The Jack Smith stuff is still going to happen, and I still think he's going to be found guilty. I think Trump is going to be found guilty for the things that happened on Jan 6. He was specifically telling those people to go there, gathering together, telling them to fight and fight like hell, and telling them to go up to go march on the Capitol. He told them to go do it based on the lie that he won the election. He didn't. He knew he didn't. And all they have to do is prove that he didn't win, and he knew he didn't win before he told people to go up there and fight for it. And you've got a guy doing an insurrection. That's how it happens. That's how the insurrection happened, you know? And we see it. We prove it. Okay, so this is fun. Trump gets schooled after whining that Biden won't face charges over classified docs. So Joe Biden is not going to be prosecuted over the classified documents that were in his garage and in his one of his offices. According to Trump, this is severely unfair, and he's very upset about it. Well, there's a difference. They're not exactly the same. It's not same. Again, not same. Okay. Former Donald Trump raged on social media after learning that the CNN report bemoaning its supposed double standard. Wow, fake news. CNN, through a leak from the Department of Justice, has just reported that no charges will be filed in the much bigger than mine crooked Joe Biden documents case. We are living in a very corrupt country. No, Donnie, listen. You did things wrong. Joe did things right. Exactly, Shincinto. When Joe Biden found out that he had those by accident, he said, oops, sorry, that's an accident. Here it is. How can I help? Donald Trump, on the other hand, said, nope, I didn't do anything wrong. These are mine. I get to keep them. Fuck you. And then they put out a subpoena, and he gave a few more back, but then said, fuck you, the rest are mine. And then the FBI came and raided his stuff and found the things that they were looking for and took them, and he said, fuck you, those were mine. You know, there's a difference between those two approaches. But you won't hear that on right-wing media. You won't. Former attorney Joyce Vance said that former Vice President Mike Pence, who also investigated for mishandling classified documents but left unscathed, are very different than Trump's. Trump was given every chance to return the documents after the National Archives realized they were missing. Biden and Pence both self-reported. The biggest problem for Trump is the lengthy history of trying to hold onto documents when asked, even subpoenaed for them. You see, Pence and Biden did the right thing the right way. They made a mistake. They said, oops, sorry, made a mistake. Here's the stuff I've got. How can I help you? I am here to help. What can I do to make this better? What can I do to fix this problem? It was a problem. We helped fix it. Donald Trump, on the other hand, dug in, doubled down, dug into the quicksand, just like we talked about earlier, and was neck deep in quicksand, telling everybody else they're covered in sand. You know, it's insane. They are incapable of changing their position. And that is so strange to me. I don't get it. If new evidence comes out, you should change your position. But that would alter their identity. And I think this is a belief thing. They have very strong beliefs. And those beliefs are tied, not even tied, they are woven in. They're baked in. Their beliefs are baked in to their identity. So if you attack those beliefs, you have attacked their entire identity. Their entire personhood is under attack. If you suggest to them that Donald Trump's document case is different than Joe Biden's, they have huge beliefs about those court cases, and it boggles my mind. I like politics. I watch it all the time. It's what I do in my spare time. It's why I started the stupid channel, because I was doing this anyway. And if I could talk about it, and I mean, some of y'all were in Discords with me, I would just talk about this stuff for hours anyway. And I was like, wait, if I'm just talking about it for hours, why don't I just record it and put it online? Great. This is what I'm doing anyway. This is not a part of my personality. If Joe Brandon, if you gave me solid evidence that Joe Brandon uh, knew about Hunter stuff and was doing crimes, I would tell you to put him in jail. I would tell you to prosecute him, investigate, prosecute, and put him in jail. That does not hurt me in any way, shape, or form. That does not hurt my feelings. If I said, yes, the Russia collusion was real, and then it's proven not, then it's not. If I think that Donald Trump did an insurrection, and then you can prove to me that he didn't, then he didn't. That doesn't work for conservatives. They have their beliefs, and they will not move from them. Because moving away from your beliefs is, I don't know why they won't do it. I wish they would. I wish you could talk sense to them. But if you could reason with a conservative, there wouldn't be any conservatives. All right, so this one is fun. This was sent to me by KBP, right? Who has it sent this? Yeah, KBP sent me this story on our Discord. I'm gonna type the Discord. So there is the Discord link. KBP saw this, thought it was interesting, wanted to talk about it, put it in the Discord. Good job, KBP. That is how the system is supposed to work. If you see something interesting, if you want to talk about it, and I'm not online, I'm only online 3 times for like 3 hours a week or something, pop it into the Discord right there. Click on it, go there, and leave the links, and then we will look at them. We will talk about them. Did not watch the parody video. I wasn't sure if it was a parody video or not. I thought it might have been just the first time you saw the regular video, Shinseto. But I will watch it if you would like to. I will bring it up and we will watch it. It'll be fun. So what we've got here. Okay, good. I thought maybe you had just seen that one for the first time and was like, oh yeah, we should talk about this song, but it's a song and everybody heard it already. All right. Let's do this and then that. Nikki Haley vows to abolish anonymous social media accounts. It's a national security threat. Oh my God. When I get into office, the first thing we have to do, social media companies, they have to show America their algorithm. Let us see why they're pushing what they're pushing. Money. Nikki, listen. Money. She wants a townhall.gov, but for the wrong reasons. We can think about that. Nikki, they have those algorithms for money. That's it. There's no ideological reason behind it. Money is all they care about. They're a company with shareholders, and they need the clicks. If puppy dog videos get the most clicks, that's what the algorithm will push. If soda commercials make them the most money, they'll push the algorithm towards sodas. That's it. That's all. What she can't comprehend, what she's missing, I suspect. There's all the money. What she's missing is that conservatives and their ideas are not popular. People don't like them on the whole. They are a minority of people within the country. Conservative ideas, Republican ideas, are not popular. Donald Trump himself got 4 million fewer votes than Hillary. He still won because the system's broken, but he still got 4 million fewer than her because he is not popular. He then got 7 million fewer votes than Biden. He is not popular. Your ideas are not popular. Last week, we talked about the Ohio politicians who are flabbergasted, shocked Pikachus. They were shocked and amazed that the people of Ohio would vote for abortion rights and for legal weed. They did not expect this. The Republicans in Ohio said we're putting abortion on the ballot and legal weed on the ballot, and we totally expect people to shoot both of them down. The people did not do that. And this shocked them. This made them amazed and worried and terrified. Conservatives, your positions are not popular. Nikki Haley, listen, you are not doing the thing that the most of the people want. Your ideas are not supported by the majority of Americans. So how does this fit to social media? If you aren't the popular one, you aren't the one pushed by the algorithm. Things that are popular get pushed by the algorithm. Waldo, not popular on YouTube, so he doesn't get pushed on the algorithm. You have to be popular to be pushed by the algorithm. That's it. She doesn't know that. She doesn't get it. She thinks she lives in a bubble. She lives in a Republican bubble that says everything we do is right and everything we do is popular and all the people agree with us. Because she's surrounded herself with people who agree with her. And then, when it's a very small bubble, she doesn't get it. She can't see past that tiny little bubble. Anyway, what are we going to do after that? So, Haley continued saying that she fears rise of anonymous social media accounts could lead to a widespread misinformation and potentially pose a national security threat. That's already happening. But it's coming from Republicans, honestly. Every person on social media should be verified by their name. It's a national security threat. When you do that, all of a sudden, people have to stand by what they say, and it gets rid of the Russian bots and Iranian bots and Chinese bots. Now, this is something that I have also pushed for and suggested, but not in a forcing Twitter to do it. I don't want to force Twitter to do that. Yeah, Shinsato, she just got the internet. She just found out it was a thing. This already happened. This caused Jan 6. The widespread misinformation that could potentially cause a threat, that happened on January the 6th. It happened. And Donald Trump helped. You know what? We knew he wasn't anonymous. We knew he wasn't anonymous, but he pushed it. And all the people went there. So, yes, I have suggested also for a social media that is bound by your name and your social security number. We came up with a name, townhall.gov. Townhall.gov, I'm suggesting, would be similar to PBS, where the government pays for it to be built, but doesn't actually run it. They put a person in charge of it, and that person is decided by the people who work there, shit like that. Where you can post things instead of posting on Twitter. Twitter is a company run for profit. So if Nikki Haley's tweets aren't profitable, their algorithm won't push them. Nikki, that's why your tweets don't get pushed, because they're not as profitable as others. So we should have a non-profit system, townhall.gov. That's what I'm suggesting. And it would have your real name, and if you post it there, your government officials could post things there. I could post things there under my real name, and people would see it, and it would be attached to me. But that doesn't mean that you should change the rules for Twitter. Twitter is a business. If Twitter makes more money by having anonymous people, then let them. She's trying to control the free market. This is insane. She wants to tell a business what to do. That's not very conservative. I don't know why I'm the one on the conservative side here for business rights, but she wants to tell a business what to do, what they can and cannot do. That's very strange to me. That, uh, but but why is she telling? Why is this conservative lady willing to tell a? Sorry, my headphones died. They die if I don't hear anything in them. If I'm just talking, they'll shut off to save battery. Anyway, ranting, ranting, ranting. Conservative, yes. Why is this conservative lady telling a business what they need to do specifically to run their business properly? It's because they have no principles. Conservatives have no principles. If uh, if X hurts conservatives, they hate X. Doesn't matter how free it is or how covered or protected by the Constitution it is, they will be against it. If Y helps conservatives, they will be for it, no matter how illegal it is. That's all there is to it. If illegal things help the conservatives, they're for it. If legal things hurt the conservatives, they will shut that shit down. Legally, posting on Twitter under a pseudonym hurts conservatives, they'll get rid of it. Because they do not care about the actual laws and rules and Constitution. What they care about is themselves, empowering themselves. And this is her trying to get more power for herself and for conservative causes. She doesn't care about the First Amendment. She doesn't care about that. If the First Amendment helps her, then she's for it. If it hurts her, she's against it. That's all there is to it. I think actually, there's more down here. So, such a move would lead to an increase in civility, Haley believes. When they know their pastors, their family members can see it, it's going to help our kids and it's going to help our country. For Town Hall Gov, I would say so, yes. Anybody could look up a person on there and see the crazy things they've typed. And if they are a crazy person and they've typed crazy things, you can be like, hey, man, you said this. I'm on board for that. We can abandon this for-profit motive. And you could get actual literal information from the government about that. I think this would be a good thing. It's similar to PBS. PBS, as far as I know, has never lied about an election date, but Twitter has. Twitter has lied to you about elections. PBS hasn't. So that's why I would kind of put it under that banner. There is a person named Josh Hawley. He's a terrible person. Senator Josh Hawley from Missouri, who recently called for a ban on popular social media platform TikTok over the increasing pro-Hamas content appearing on the service. They use it as a news aggregator, Senator Hawley said, of the young people using TikTok. And if you look at much of what's trending on TikTok, if you look at the volume of pro-Hamas, frankly, it's pro-genocidal content. That is Josh Hawley, Republican, elected official, telling you what you cannot say. Think about that. Republican Josh Hawley telling you what you cannot say. What's the issue with that? Why is he telling you you cannot say it? Because he disagrees with it. Josh Hawley, Republican elected official, disagrees with your speech. So he's telling you you cannot do that speech. This is the Republican Party now. This is what they have. They have no principles. They have no guardrails. They have no ethos. Power to themselves. Disempower their opponents. That is the only rule they have. They do not care about the First Amendment. They do not care about your freedom of speech. They do not care about your freedom of anything. Empower conservatives. That is the only rule. And that is authoritarian. We don't like that. I'm suggesting that that is a bad stance. All right, so we got Nikki Haley here. We can close you up, and then that's the same thing. Hey, look, education stuff. We like education stuff, right? Texas House votes to remove school vouchers from massive education bill. The outcome was an embarrassment to Greg Abbott, who spent several months lobbying 24 Republicans who signaled opposition to vouchers in April. I don't like school vouchers. I think that's a Uh, School vouchers are a dangerous thing. Shinsento's excited for this headline. I know he is. Part of the reason I clicked on it. The Texas House on Friday voted to strip school vouchers from the chamber's massive education funding bill, taking an axe to Governor Greg Abbott's top legislative priority of the year. 84 to 63 removed the provision of the bill allowing some parents to use tax dollars to send their children to private and religious schools. 21 Republicans, most of whom represent rural districts, joined all Democrats in support. Probably because they only have one school. If I had to guess, uh, voucher opponents, which is me, said they feared the subsidy would divert money from their public school systems, either in the short term because the students would leave for private schools, or in the long term because the state would have to commit more funding to the program that would otherwise fund public education. For many rural Republicans, they said they have few private schools in their districts where their families could take advantage of it. Yeah, exactly. It doesn't benefit them. So the Democrats in this situation are right for the right reasons. The Republicans in this situation are right for the wrong reasons. The Republicans in these very rural areas would be for it if they had more private schools to take advantage of these vouchers. The poor people in these very rural areas that are very far away from all of the towns, it's a half-hour drive to the next town, you know, do not have a school to use the voucher. So it's like giving somebody a coupon to Kroger's, but you're in a Winco town, you know, you don't have a Kroger's nearby. In my town, if you gave me a coupon for Long John Silver's in my town, that would be worthless. There isn't one near here. I cannot use that voucher to save 75 cents on a fillet of fish because I don't have one. It's not here. So I would not want tax money going to that. That's the idea. So they're right for the wrong reasons. These rural Republicans are right for the wrong reasons. Funding is a big problem in Texas, and it's a mess because there are people who want it to be for profit. Colleges right now are for profit, and they're through the fucking roof. This isn't the people I talk to are very upset about colleges and the free money spigot that exists. And college loans are a thing, and Biden's forgiving some of the loans, and he's not forgiving some of the. It's a fucking mess. Why is it a mess? Corporate greed, profit-seeking motives. They want profit. They must have profit, and they will get it any way they can. If that means shorting the kids, that's what they do. If that means stealing from the government, that's what they do. If that means bloating the budget on bullshit, that's what they will do. If that means laying off professors, that's what they will do. If it makes more profit. And all of that is trouble. Imagine the trouble they're having with the colleges right now, were applied to high schools. It would be even worse. You would have to take out loans to go to high school for 4 years. You would. Or else you would not ever get ahead in life. It would create a two-tier system. The poor kids who went to a public school and got piss poor education, and the better kids who went to this specific high school because they applied to that high school and they took out the loans or they had the money to pay for that high school. Which one are you going to hire? Which college you went to is already an important thing when hiring people. Which college did you graduate from? Harvard? Okay, great. You're ahead of the line of the guy who went to a no-name college in the middle of Missouri. You just are. There's no way around it. You can't argue that fact. In my current job, look at applications. And I'm not supposed to. I've been taught not to, but it still sticks out. This guy went to Harvard. This guy went to a technical college in the middle of Kentucky. Which one gets looked at by the employers more favorably? Obviously the Harvard one, because it's illustrious and has a well-known reputation for producing the best, except that it also produced Ted Cruz. So I would say, oh, gross. That's where Ted Cruz went. So even then, even on a negative thing. If I saw Wharton, you know who went to Wharton? Trump and his kids. So if I saw an application that said they graduated from Wharton, I'd be like, ugh, well, yuck, that's where Trump went. Let's put you on the bottom. I would be doing a bad job. I would be abusing my power by doing so. But that is what happens in the real world. And that will happen with high schools so that Republicans can make a buck. Why are they doing it? So that they can make a buck. So they can skim just a little bit, just skim a percent off of all that money that's going into the schools so that they can make more money. Every problem comes back down to money. Capitalism is our biggest flaw. Well, I mean, it's not our biggest flaw. Capitalism is a better system than feudalism and tribalism before that. But it can be improved, and we should improve it. Don't be afraid to improve capitalism. Don't be afraid. Why are you scared to improve capitalism? Conservatives, why are you afraid to improve capitalism? We can't improve it. It's called socialism. That is an improvement to capitalism, not a destruction of capitalism. No, it's not destroying it, it's improving it. Why are you afraid to improve it? Because you're afraid of anything new. Because you sit backward, staring, because conservatives sit staring backward. They stare backward at what was. And they will tell you all day long how great it was back there. Make America great again. It used to be great. It's not any longer. It's not great any longer. It was better back there. They are staring backward all day long at how great things used to be. Don't do that. Look towards the future. Don't make the future look like the past. That's insane. It never works. It never works. Okay. What time is it? How long have we been on? We've been on for an hour. So it is time for a very scary book report. Bum, bum, bum. I'm going to scoot this over just a little bit. There we go. And then we'll make it a little bit bigger too. Let's make it bump. There it is. It's bigger. We go here. We scoot you over just a little bit more. There we go. All right. So what is this? This is the Project 2025. It is a very scary fictional book that was written by the Heritage Foundation. It is a cookbook for authoritarianism. You've heard of the arc? What was the God? What was that name of that book that got banned because it has bombs in it? Not Alchemist's Cookbook, the Anarchist's Cookbook. There, see, KVP's using it right. The Anarchist's Cookbook. You've heard of this. It is a book that was banned, probably legitimately, because it told you how to make bombs. Not a good thing. The Anarchist's Cookbook. This is the Authoritarian's Cookbook, because what is in this book describes how to get rid of the deep state and replace it with an ideological right-wing conservative Christian deep state. Great. Nothing wrong with that sentence, right? That sounds exciting. So we have done many chapters. Today we are looking at chapter number 14 about the DHS. So the DHS is a thing. It exists. I think it's an okay thing. Republicans want it to look shockingly different than it does right now. What we'll do is I'll read just this first part by Roger Severino and yell at him because this is filled with nonsense. And then we won't go into the very specific details, but if you want, you can read this and see the absolute, very tiny little details that they want for this department. The plan is to get a Republican elected, then put this into practice. Give this to the next Republican president and just say, read it, follow it. You will never lose another election again. That's the plan. That's what they want and that's what Donald Trump will do. He won't read it. God, no, I don't think he can read. But he will give it to somebody who can, like Stephen Miller. And then he would say, okay, follow this to the letter. And guess what? This is that death of democracy that all those people were talking about earlier in the stream. This is it. They've laid out the plans for it. You can read it, and I am. So, Department of Health and Human Services by Roger Severino. Roger Severino. If the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services were a separate country, its approximately $1.6 trillion budget would rank as the world's fifth largest national budget. For good or ill, HHS activities personally impact the lives of more Americans than do those of any other federal agency. Under President Trump, HHS was dedicated to serving all Americans from conception to natural death, including those individuals and families who face economic and social well-being challenges. Under President Biden, the mission has shifted to promoting equity in everything we do for the sake of populations sharing a particular characteristic, including race, sexuality, gender identification, and ethnicity, and a host of other categories. Well, they probably changed it because of the word conception here, Roger. That's it. That's a thing. As a result of the HHS having lost its way, the U.S. life expectancy, instead of returning to normal after COVID-19 pandemic, continued to drop precipitously to levels not seen since 1996, with white populations alone losing 7% of their expected lifespan in just 1 year. Not the white populations! Oh no! You guys, the white populations are losing 7% of their expected lifespan. This is just science, Roger. You don't know what science is. And it's probably to do with capitalists forcing us to eat sugar all day long. Just saying. Nothing less than an American long-term survival is at stake. So when white populations lose years, the long-term survival of the country is at stake. Accordingly, HHS must return to servicing the health and well-being of all Americans at all stages of life instead of using social engineering that leaves us sicker, poorer, and more divided. You gonna push for universal health care, Roger? No? I don't think you are. The HHS consists of 11 operating divisions that have varying degrees of practical independence from the Secretary of Health and Human Services to 15 staff divisions, blah, 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 blah. Okay. Here's his goals. Which is, you won't lose another election again because you won't let another election happen. Correct. She said they'll never let it happen. The government will just be filled with people who agree with you, and then then when you tell them there's no election this year, they'll be like, yeah, we totally agree. Goal number 1, protecting life, conscience, and bodily integrity. The Secretary should pursue a robust agenda to protect the fundamentalist right to life, protect conscience rights, okay, and uphold bodily integrity rooted in biological realities, not ideology. Bum, bum, bum. No more trans people. That's what that means. Biological realities, not ideology. This means no trans people. From the moment of conception, every human being possesses inherent dignity. What? And worth, and our humanity does not depend on our age, state of development, race, or abilities. The Secretary must ensure that all HHS programs and activities are rooted in deep respect for innocent human life from day one until natural death. Abortion and euthanasia are not health care. They are, though, Roger. You're wrong. Yeah, this is just anti-abortion. A robust respect for the sacred right of conscience. Conscience, what is this that he's talking about? I don't even know what he's talking about. Both at the HHS and among government institutions funded by it, increased choices for patients and program beneficiaries, and further pluralism and tolerance. I don't know what he's saying. The Secretary must protect American civil rights by ensuring the HHS programs and activities follow the letter and spirit of religious freedom and conscience protection laws. Okay, I think I've got it. Religious freedom means that conscience protection laws. There are religions that don't want certain things to happen to them once they're in the hospital, but that's really dumb. Generally, it's the religious freedom of the hospital to tell the patients what they cannot do. That is what he's talking about. He wants to empower Catholics to own hospitals and then deny the patients the things they want because it's against the Catholic religion. That's what he's pushing for. That is what he's talking about with his conscience protection laws. He wants every doctor in the country to have to go through a political class and follow his political ideology. Roger, this guy right here, wants you to go to the doctor and the doctor to have a religion and a conscience that will tell you what you can and cannot do. Again, this is Republicans controlling people. That's what they do. They tell you all day long that they're the Freedom Party. Republicans all day long tell me they're the party of freedom. Yet I read their policies and they lower freedom. They lessen the freedom the Americans have. You're not allowed to be trans. You're not allowed to marry somebody with the same sex. You're not allowed to get abortions. You're not allowed to transition. You're not allowed to go see a doctor who's going to help you transition. You're not allowed to wear the clothes that you want. You're not allowed to wear earrings, flashy, shiny earrings if you're a man. You're not allowed to do that. If you have a dinger between your legs, you are not allowed to wear shiny earrings. You're not allowed. They create, what the conservatives do is create boxes, and those boxes fit them comfortably, which is fine. But sometimes people don't want to be in that box, or they don't feel comfortable in that box, and so they would like the freedom to escape that box and do something else. Do I have the freedom to put a shiny golden earring in my ear? In the 40s or 50s, I really wouldn't have that freedom. There are masculine earrings. There are men with earrings, obviously. But there are feminine earrings too, right? Do I have the freedom to put a feminine earring? I don't want to, but if I wanted to, would I have the freedom to put a shiny, dangly, golden chandelier-style earring on my ear? On both ears. I should have that freedom. But conservatives don't want me to have that freedom. They do not want me to have that freedom. Conservatives are anti-freedom. They're pro-boxes. And the reason they do it is because they think it's more orderly. The world is very complicated and chaotic if you just run around doing whatever you want. So they need boxes, they need rules and order. I believe they do want order, but they want order to be boxes that they agree to. Straight guy wants to be wants to wear a dress. They don't like it. It doesn't fit within their boxes. And now I'm ranting about freedom. They are the anti-freedom party. So when they say religious freedom, they just mean that the religion gets to tell other people what to do. If you have freedom, you don't need this term religious freedom because you would obviously have the freedom. When conservatives use the word religious freedom, that means the religion has the freedom to tell you what to do and change what you're doing based on our boxes. Radical actors inside and outside government are promoting harmful identity politics that replaces biological sex with subjective notions of gender identity and bases a person's worth on his or her race, sex, or other identities. These destructive dogma, under the guise of equity, threatens Americans' fundamental liberties as well as the health and well-being of children and adults alike. The next secretary must ensure that the HHS programs protect children's minds and bodies and that HHS programs respect patients' basic right to direct the upbringing, education, and care of their children. Again, conservatives think they own their children. Conservatives think they own their children. I get to direct the upbringing, the education, and the care. Yes, you get to direct that, but you don't get to isolate them from reality. That's actually severely harmful. If you have a kid who has never heard of any of these things and leaves your protective bubble, they're going to have a bad time. They're not prepared for the real world. They're going to freak out a little bit. And this is what happens when, I talk about it every damn week, when kids from small towns go to a college. They learn that there's a different world out there. It's a different world. Everything is different. The people here aren't like the people I grew up with. And then they go wild. And then they start having some freedom. And then they come back home for Thanksgiving and Uncle Roger is very unhappy. He used to be a good kid, and then he went to college and became a screaming liberal. It's because he had freedom now. You did not give him freedom. You protected him. You built a wall around him and forced him into a box. Anti-freedom. Goal number 2, empowering patient choices and provider autonomy. The patient choice is to get sick and die or pay a lot of money. And the provider autonomy is going to be the provider will be allowed to turn you down for things they don't politically agree with. Basic economics holds that a cost trend to decrease the quality and options tend to increase when there is a robust and free competition in the provision of goods and services. Healthcare is no exception. Yes, it is. Motherfucker. Healthcare is non-elastic. Or is it elastic? Fuck, I forget the term. Regardless, the point is, if cancer treatment costs $1, you'll pay it. If it costs $100, you'll pay it to stay alive. If it costs $1,000, you will pay it to stay alive. If it costs $1 million, you will pay it to stay alive. There is no amount of money that you would not give to keep your children alive. That is why healthcare is different than buying a skateboard. Would I pay $1 for a skateboard for my kid? Yes. Would I pay $1,000 for a skateboard for my kid? No. Competition works in this situation. Competition works with buying skateboards. I can go and find out which ones work, which ones have different wheel bearings or whatnot, which ones look good, which ones are too expensive, which ones are cheaper, which ones will break more easily. That is competition. I cannot do that with cancer medications, Roger. I cannot do that with cancer meds. And I shouldn't. This one costs more, but it does a little bit better of a job. That's the one I want. That's the one that we need to keep the children alive. There is no amount of money that I wouldn't give to keep the kids alive. Jesus Christ, he doesn't... They think it's just a regular economy. You can just go and pick out whichever cancer med you want. No, motherfucker. Of course, providers who deliver healthcare also need the freedom to address the unique needs of their patients. States should be the primary regulators of the medical profession, and the federal government should not restrict providers' abilities to discharge their responsibilities or limit their ability to innovate through government pricing controls or irrational Medicare or Medicaid reimbursement schemes. Discharge their responsibilities. This is what I'm saying. He wants your doctor to be able to shoot your ass down for political reasons. He wants to put the government in between you and your doctor. He wants to give your doctor the ability to turn your ass down because you're too woke. Finally, America's broken insurance system, run largely through confusing provider networks and third-party payers, introduces overconsumption of healthcare. What? Limits consumer shopping and hides true costs for the patients. Yes, that's capitalism, baby. This is a capitalist problem you're dealing with right here. The federal government should focus reform on reducing burdens of regulatory compliance. Good God. Unleashing innovation in healthcare delivery, ceasing interference in the daily lives of patients and providers, allowing alternative insurance coverage options, and returning control of healthcare dollars to patients making decisions with their provider about their healthcare treatments and services. Okay. Regulatory compliance. If the federal government doesn't do regulatory compliance, the companies will just steal all the money. The health insurance companies make money by taking it and not giving it out. If there is no federal requirements, they will take all the money and they will give out less. Capitalism. The problem with our current medical system is capitalism. And this motherfucker wants to supercharge that capitalism. Get the government out of the way. Let the companies do whatever the damn hell they want. You are an insurance company, you can do whatever you want. There is no federal regulations stopping you from taking all the money and giving none out. Nothing. Will it be bad for business? Maybe. But if it's good for your business for the next quarter, then they'll fucking do it. Goal number 3, promoting stable, flourishing married families. What the fuck is this? Families comprised of a married mother, father, and their children are the foundation of a well-ordered nation and healthy societies. Unfortunately, family policies and programs under President Biden's HHS are fraught with agenda items focusing on LGBTQ equity, subsidizing single motherhood, disincentivizing work, and penalizing marriage. These policies should be repealed and replaced by policies that support the formation of stable married nuclear families. This is some Nazi shit right here. But this is some Nazi shit. This is some Third Reich shit right here. If you are part of the LGBTQ, according to this, you are lesser. You are a lesser part. You are less important. You are less than a married family. If you are divorced, you are less than a flourishing married family. If you do not fit within this married mother, married father, and their children foundation, you are a second-class citizen. You are not important. The things that your issues are out. Subsidizing single motherhood because generally they have less money, they need help. Fine. The weakest among us need the most help. That doesn't punish you. Disincentivizing work. Horseshit. Republican nonsense. No one's disincentivizing work. If people don't want to work, it's because they're not being paid enough. You can get anybody to do anything with the right amount of money. Does that hurt the CEO's bottom line? Yeah, maybe. So he needs to work on that. This is a capitalism problem, not a government one. And penalizing marriage. I've been married for 22 years. I've never been penalized by anybody other than my wife. My wife, penalizing marriage is not a thing. It's never happened. I implore some conservatives to tell me how marriages are being penalized. How are marriages being penalized? Tell me in the comments, please. I've never heard of such a thing. I've never seen such a thing. I've been married for a very long time, and I've never seen anybody penalizing marriage. She knows. Don't worry. All right, so this is some straight up Nazi shit. I don't like it. Working fathers are essential to the well-being and development of their children. Working fathers, only the fathers. But the United States is experiencing a crisis of fatherlessness that is ruining our children's futures. In the overwhelming number of cases, fathers insulate children from physical and sexual abuse. They're the ones who do it most of the time. Financial difficulty or poverty. Incarceration, teen pregnancy, poor educational outcomes, high school failure, and a host of behavior and psychological problems. By contrast, homes with non-related boyfriends present are among the most dangerous places for a child to be. HHS would prioritize married father engagement in its messaging, health, and welfare policies. You must fit within the box. These are the boxes I discussed. You must fit within this box, or else you're a degenerate. If you do not fit within these boxes, you are a problem. If you do not fit within these boxes that we have drawn, we have set, you are part of the problem and you are denigrated to a second-class citizen. Nazi shit. Goal number 4, preparing for the next healthy emergency. Oh no, COVID-19 pandemic demonstrated how catastrophic a micromanaging, misinformed, centralized, and politicized federal government can be. Basic human rights, medical choice, and the doctor-patient relationship were trampled without scientific justification and for extended periods of time. Excess deaths, not due to COVID-19, skyrocketed because of forced lockdowns. No, motherfucker. They went up because the hospital was busy. Isolation, vaccine-related mass firings, and colossal disruptions of the economy and daily rhythms of life. The excess deaths, not due to COVID-19, skyrocketed because all the hospitals were busy with COVID. It wasn't because of isolation. It wasn't because of vaccine-related mass firings. How does a vaccine-related mass firing kill you? How does I got fired, now I'm dead. I refused the vaccine, now I'm fired, now I'm dead. That's nonsense. That's fear-mongering. Colossal disruptions to the economy and the daily rhythms of life. COVID did that. And it doesn't help that Republicans are out screaming about how they're not going to follow certain rules. That's not helping, Roger. That's not helping. The federal government's public health apparatus has lost the public trust because you keep telling us it's lying and you refuse to follow its rules. Before the next national public health emergency, this apparatus must be fundamentally restructured to ensure a transparent, scientifically grounded, and more nimble, efficient, transparent, and targeted response that respects the unique needs and input of patients, populations, and providers. That sounds great, but you can't top down do snowflake stuff. This sounds like snowflake stuff. Everybody, every person, every patient is different. I dig that. But you can't have a giant top down policy that respects those individual differences. You need guidelines that are followed. It's Republican nonsense, is what it is. Every one of the overreaching policies during the pandemic, from lockdowns to school closures to masks and vaccine mandates or passports, received its supposed legal justification from the state of emergency declared and renewed by the HHS Secretary and Donald Trump. Fuck off. Tellingly, however, the threshold for what constitutes a public health emergency, how many cases, hospitalization, deaths, was never defined. Of course not, dipshit. You can't fucking define that kind of thing, or else it doesn't work. If being too literal, see, this is that literal, non-literal thing that we talked about at the very beginning of stream. They want it to be literal, and then they want the spirit of the law when they want it. They want the letter of the law when they want it, and they will jump back and forth between them. So he's complaining that it didn't follow the letter of the law, but the spirit was respected, but not the letter. They're nonsense talking. For the sake of the democratic accountability, we must know with clarity what will trigger the next emergency declaration, and just as important, what will trigger its end. No, no, that's stupid. That's very, very, very stupid. God, it's just dumb. Putting a hard mathematical number on what is and what isn't an emergency is stupid. What if it's one human being under an emergency? Is it not an emergency? What if it's one human being over? It is an emergency? That's insane. You're full of shit, Roger. Goal number 5, instituting greater transparency, accountability, and oversight. The next administration should guard against the regulatory capture of our public health agencies by pharmaceutical companies, insurers, hospital conglomerates, and related economic interests. That sounds like socialism, Roger. That these agencies are meant to regulate. We must erect robust firewalls to mitigate these obvious financial conflicts of interest. Man, this sounds like socialism. I'm on board. All national institutes of health, centers for disease control, and prevention of Food and Drug Administration regulators should be entirely free from private biopharmaceutical funding in this realm. Public-private partnerships is a euphemism for agency capture, a thin veneer for corporatism. Funding for agencies and individual government research must come directly from the government with a robust congressional oversight. I'm okay with this. This is, unless he has some weird thing in this paragraph, I'm on board. We must shut and lock the revolving door between government and big pharma. Regulators should have a long cooling off period in their contracts. 15 years would not be too long. That prevents them from working for companies they have regulated. Similarly, pharmaceutical companies' executives should be restricted from moving from industry into positions within regulatory agencies. I don't mind this. This one I kind of disagree with. If you worked in a pharmaceutical company and then you want to go to work for the government, I kind of okay with that. You're taking a pay cut, first of all. And hopefully you're not bending the rules so that the company you just left can make more money. I can see that being an issue. But we need experts, and those experts are in the companies that are doing the thing. Finally, HHS should adopt metrics across the agency that can objectively determine the extent to which the agency's policies and programs have achieved desired health and welfare outcomes, not agency outputs. What is not measured is not achieved. That's very authoritarian of you, but all right, whatever. So yeah, this is their plans for the HHS. Let's real quick go over them again. Number 1, anti-abortion Nazi shit. Number 2, empowering patient choices and provider autonomy. The patient will get to choose where to die, and the provider will get the autonomy to shut your ass down for political reasons. Number 3, promoting stable and flourishing married families. Some more Nazi shit. Number 4, preparing the next health emergency, which is fine. I don't think there's anything specifically bad about this one. And number 5, I'm kind of on board for. So I'm being fair here, I think. I'm reading the Republicans' plans. This isn't their Twitter feed. This isn't them telling me what they feel about how people ought to act in certain ways. This is literal policy. 3 of them were Nazi shit, 1 of them was mediocre, and 1 of them was okay. So I'm a fair arbiter. I'm not trying to be central. I'm definitely a leftist, but I'm not just shooting down every single thing they say. They bring me a policy, I will look at it, I will determine whether or not it's a good idea, and then I will tell you my opinion on it. This isn't just, hey, a Republican wrote this, so we hate it. If a Republican tells you the sky is blue, you don't immediately doubt them. I mean, you kind of doubt them, but you double check. So that's what I did there. I double checked. 3 of them are Nazi shit, and 1 of them is mediocre, and 1 of them's okay. So that is the Republican book report for this week. What is the next chapter? So the next chapter, and there are more pages to this, but it is specifically like individual, like here's what this group ought to do, here's how this group ought to be structured, here's who's in charge of this group and shit like that. So the next chapter is Department of Housing and Urban Development. I'm going to read this beforehand so that I can determine if it's super boring. And then we might skip it because it's boring. Interior is boring. Department of Justice is kind of interesting. So we might just skip down to chapter 17 or for the DOJ next week or the week after, whenever I get around to it. So I'll read through those boring chapters. If they're boring, I won't bring them up, or I'll just point out the individual highlights. But because that one's written by Ben Carson, who is going to put me to sleep as I read it. Ben Carson is an idiot, and he got his job in the urban. What's the name of it again? Sorry, I've missed one of the words. Department of Housing and Urban Development, because urban is a dog whistle word for black people. And Donald Trump only knew 1 at the time. Actually, he knew 2, but Herman Cain died going to a Trump rally. So he had to pick the only black person he knew to be in the urban area. He thought that it was just about black people. So he picked Ben Carson. Ben Carson's super boring, super unintelligent. He's a brain surgeon, but it's not quite as complicated as you might think. Ben Carson, very dumb, very bad guy. Will just ramble on forever about boring shit. And that's my job. So we may skip that chapter. I'll read them over, see if there's anything going on in there. And that, I think, is it for today. I appreciate everybody who came by. I appreciate all the viewers. I appreciate all the chatters. I'm going to turn the lady on for like a minute or 2 as I finish. I'm going to get into I need this to be the habit of when I'm doing the newsy things, I have the lady turned off, and when I pop back in, I have the lady turned on. She didn't say thanks, Waldo.
Thanks, Waldo.
Hey, there she is. Thank you. I appreciate anybody who came by. If you are watching, please hop into chat. You get points, and you can become a super cool guy like these guys with all their points and all their winning and all their slot machines. If you are interested,
slots,
you can play
the
slots.
result is at KBP 24. Sorry, keep trying. You lost 50 points. YouTube. https www.youtubecom at waldovideos. Discord. https discord gg Beignet 8.
Beignet 8. I need a username. This Beignet 8. She reads it as Beignet 8. Very fun. If you want to suggest a topic, go to the Discord, drop it in there. I'll look at it. We'll do it. Oh, we had your music video, didn't we? I almost forgot about the music video. Let's watch the music video. Last thing for today. Because you, Shinsinto, brought it to the Discord. We're gonna end today with a very fun. Oh God, I pressed all the wrong buttons. Come on, buttons. Let's go here, and then we go here, and then we go there. We change this, and then we copy paste, and we paste that, and then we hit pause, and we unmute it. All right. Hopefully, I don't get banned for playing somebody else's stuff, but we're reacting to it, right? Right. We're gonna react to a very fun parody music video. Let's go.
You want to chase your dreams and do the things that you always wanted to when you were young. You want to have the money to take your family to Hawaii the way your daddy did back in 91. You want your kids learning history and not ancient fantasy, with healthy meals and quality medical care.
Uh-oh, sounds like socialism.
You want to get your college degree from an accredited university so you can make more than $28K a year. Try that in a small town where it's all corrupt and shit gets around, where good paying jobs just can't be found. Yeah, man. Try that in a small town where you work like hell until you're in the ground. You gotta love Jesus and it's hard being brown.
Hard being brown.
Man. Try that shit in a small town. Wanna get on Tinder and see more than just your sister, or vote Democrat and get to speak your mind. You're tired of the Dollar Tree, you want a grocery and friends who aren't racist all the time. You want to drink Bud Light and not have to fight about whether or not it makes you gay. You want to dress like a chick, but you've got a dick, and you like your water regulated by the EPA. Well, try that in a small town.
You can't.
Where it's all corrupt and shit gets around, where good paying jobs just can't be found. Yeah, man. Try that in a small town where you work like hell until you're in the ground. You gotta love Jesus and it's hard being brown. Yeah, man. Try that shit in a small town.
This shit's hilarious.
Rhinos.
You like women's right to choose, and your best friend's a Jew, and you believe in dinosaurs. Yeah, church and state, you wish they'd separate, and you don't really like the Donald anymore. Well, try that in a small town where it's all corrupt and shit gets around, where good paying jobs
What ties?
just can't be found. Yeah, man. Try that in a small town where you work like hell until you're in the ground. You gotta love Jesus and it's hard being brown. Yeah, man. Try that shit in a small town. Yeah, try that in a small town. Yeah, try that shit in a small town.
You guys see the buttons on that guitar had buttons because it was a rock band Guitar Hero guitar. Excellent choice, Shinseto. I'm glad you
Guitar
did that.
Hero.
Yeah, it was Guitar Hero. He had the little buttons for Guitar Hero. It was great. That is a good thing. We all know where it came from. The original Try That in a Small Town song was about how great small towns are. And this guy, rightly, suggests that they aren't great. And that is an issue that we're running into. Most of the people in my YouTube comments are going to tell me about how Middle America is real America. They've just never left. If you try that shit that he described in a small town, they will not like you. They will insult you. They might even physically harm you. I mean, that's what they do. Possibly. They ostracize you, they otherize you, possibly even physically harming you. They harass you, they won't let you, they won't bring you into social functions, they will socially ostracize you, they will kick you out of certain places, you're not allowed to go into certain places. So those people leave. That's why I don't live there. That's why I don't live in small towns. Because it's filled with people who would judge me based on my ideas, beliefs, and thoughts, rather than what I do, and rather than my actions. They would base me on my choices and thoughts and ideas, and then they would remove me, otherize me, and socially ostracize me from their community. And then I would not be allowed to have friends. I wouldn't be able to talk to people. I would get stared at when I go into certain places, based on just being just the ideas that I have. So this guy is right on the money. We should follow him. I shouldn't have closed it, but that was a very good video. It had a lot of views, and you should follow him for fun stuff. His name was Jack Saint, and you should follow him and click on the YouTube subscribe button. I'm going to do it right now. Are you cool like me? Are you going to click on the subscribe button right now? Super. That's how YouTubers work, right? So, that was a good way to end this stream today. I appreciate the link. If you want to be
The
cool like
stares
them,
you get going Christmas shopping at Dollar Tree.
the stares I would get going Christmas shopping at Dollar Tree. It's true. That's Waldo. He's one of them atheists. They they worship Satan. Fucking Satanist worship and atheists. Well, not quite. Swing and a miss. Not quite correct. So he voted for Joe Brandon. Can you believe that shit? Look at that son of a bitch walking around thinking that we ought to raise our taxes. I only make $29,000 a year, and he wants to raise my fucking taxes. No, I don't want to raise your taxes, boss. I want to raise the taxes of the billionaires that are paying you $29,000 a year to do your work. Anyway, that is it for today. I appreciate everybody who came by. Good ending to the stream. If you want to shoot links or other fun music videos, go to the Discord. It's right here, and shoot those links. I appreciate everybody.